The doorbell rang at 6:47 a.m. Freya Johnson froze mid-bite, her cereal spoon suspended in the air. Nobody visited her this early. Nobody visited her at all anymore, not since Marcus had packed his things 3 weeks ago and left her with nothing but silence and self-doubt. She set down the spoon and walked to the door, her bare feet cold against the hardwood floor. Through the peephole, she saw him. A man in a black suit. Sharp jawline. Dark eyes that seemed to pierce through the door itself. And in his hand, her phone. The rose gold case she'd been tearing her apartment apart looking for since yesterday. Her breath caught. She didn't know this man. She'd never seen him before in her life. But he had her phone. Freya's hand trembled as she unlocked the deadbolt. The door swung open and the morning air rushed in, carrying with it the scent of expensive cologne and something darker, danger. Freya Johnson? His voice was smooth, accented, controlled. Why, yes. He held up her phone. I believe this belongs to you. Her eyes darted from the phone to his face. Korean, she thought. Maybe early 30s. Devastatingly handsome in a way that made her uncomfortable. But it was his eyes that held her cold, calculating, yet somehow amused. Where did you find it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. His lips curved into the ghost of a smile. You sent me a very interesting message last night. The blood drained from her face. Oh God. Oh God, no. If you're hooked already, hit that subscribe button because this story is about to get wild. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The photo. The one she'd taken after 3 glasses of wine and a playlist full of songs about revenge and self-love. The one where she'd worn her favorite black lace lingerie and actually felt beautiful for the first time since the breakup. The one she'd meant to send to her best friend Simone with the caption, "Still got it, right?" But she'd been scrolling through her contacts, and the wine had made her fingers clumsy, and Min-Jun Kim's name had been right above Simone's because she'd accidentally saved his number last week when he'd texted her about a package delivery for her neighbor. I'm so sorry, Freya stammered, her face burning. That wasn't meant for you. It was an accident. A complete accident. I gathered that. He stepped closer, and she instinctively stepped back. But accidents have consequences, Ms. Johnson. Are you here too? What? Arrest me? Sue me? Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Neither. He tilted his head. I'm here because when someone sends me a photo like that at 2 in the morning, I do my research. And what I found was interesting. Research? The word came out strangled. Your ex-boyfriend Marcus Chin works for Darian Cross. Do you know who Darian Cross is? Freya shook her head, but something in her gut twisted. Marcus had always been secretive about his job. Private security, he'd said. High-profile clients. He's my competitor, Min-Jun said simply. And your message came from a phone that, upon closer inspection, has spyware on it. The room tilted. What? Someone has been tracking your location, your messages, your photos. Min-Jun's eyes darkened. Everything. And given your connection to Marcus, I have to assume this wasn't a mistake at all. I have to assume you were sent to get close to me. That's insane. I don't even know you. I just moved into this building 3 months ago, and you're my upstairs neighbor who I've literally never had a full conversation with until right now. He studied her for a long moment. Her chest heaved. Her hands shook. And she realized with growing horror that she was still wearing her oversized sleep shirt with a cartoon cat on it, and her hair was piled on top of her head in a messy bun. I believe you, he said finally. The relief was so sudden she almost collapsed. But belief doesn't make you safe. He handed her the phone. May I come in? We need to talk. Every instinct screamed at her to say no. To slam the door. To call the police. But the police couldn't help her if Marcus had really put spyware on her phone. If Marcus was working for someone dangerous. If she was already in trouble she didn't even understand. So she stepped aside. Min-Jun entered her small apartment with the quiet confidence of someone used to owning every room he walked into. He glanced around at her thrift store furniture, her unfinished paintings leaning against the wall, her stack of romance novels on the coffee table. You're an artist, he observed. Graphic designer. The paintings are just therapy. They're good. He turned to face her. Sit down, Freya. You look like you're about to pass out." She sank onto her couch, clutching her phone like a lifeline. Min-Jun remained standing, his hands in his pockets, his expression unreadable. "Marcus never told you what he really does," Min-Jun said. It wasn't a question. He said private security. He works for a man who traffics information, weapons, and people. Darian Cross runs half the underground operations on the West Coast. And I run the other half. The words hung in the air like smoke. "You're..." Freya couldn't even say it. "Yes." His voice was matter-of-fact. "And your ex-boyfriend has been using you. The spyware on your phone has been active for 6 months. Everything you've done, everywhere you've gone, they know. And when you accidentally sent me that photo, you became visible to me. Which means they know I know about you now. This can't be real." Freya's voice cracked. "I'm a graphic designer. I eat cereal for dinner. I binge-watch rom-coms. I'm nobody. You stopped being nobody the moment Marcus put that spyware on your phone." Min-Jun moved closer, crouching down so they were eye level. His gaze was intense, but not unkind. "They're going to come for you, Freya. Either to silence you or to use you against me. Unless I protect you." "Why would you protect me?" "You don't know me." Something flickered in his eyes, something almost human beneath all that ice. "Because you're innocent. And because whether you meant to or not, you reached out to me. Consider it fate." "Fate." She laughed, a brittle, slightly hysterical sound. "I sent a thirst trap to a crime lord by mistake, and you think that's fate?" The corner of his mouth lifted. "I think the universe has a sense of humor. And I think you have 2 choices right now. You can stay here, alone, and wait for Darian's people to find you. Or you can come with me, and I'll make sure you're safe while we figure out what they want from you." "Come with you where?" "Somewhere they can't touch you." Freya looked down at her phone, then back up at Min-Jun. His expression was serious, but there was something else there too, a kind of intensity that made her skin prickle with awareness. This was crazy. This was the most insane thing that had ever happened to her. But what choice did she really have? "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, I'll come with you." Min-Jun stood, offering his hand. She took it, and his grip was warm and solid. "Real. Pack a bag," he said. "Just essentials. We leave in 10 minutes." She moved on autopilot, throwing clothes into her old duffel bag. Toothbrush. Phone charger. Her laptop. The small leather journal where she kept her design sketches. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. When she emerged from her bedroom, Min-Jun was standing by her window, looking out at the street below. "They're already watching," he said quietly. "What?" "Black sedan. 2 men. They've been there for about 6 minutes." He turned to her. "We're going out the back. Stay close to me. Don't speak unless I tell you to. Understand?" She nodded. They took the service elevator down to the basement parking garage. Min-Jun's car was a sleek black Mercedes that probably cost more than she made in 2 years. He opened the passenger door for her, and she slid inside, her bag clutched to her chest. He drove with the same calm control he seemed to bring to everything else. They pulled out of the garage and into morning traffic, and Freya watched in the side mirror as the black sedan tried to follow. But Min-Jun made a series of quick turns, navigating through side streets with practiced ease, until they've left their tail behind. "Where are we going?" Freya asked. "My penthouse. Downtown. Top floor. Secure. Your penthouse." She almost laughed again. "Of course you have a penthouse. I have several properties. This one is the safest." They drove in silence for a while. The city woke up around them, joggers on the sidewalks, coffee shops opening, the sun climbing higher. Normal life. A world away from the nightmare she'd just stepped into. "Can I ask you something?" Freya said finally. "Yes. How did Marcus even find me?" "I mean, we met at a coffee shop." It seemed so random. Min-Jun's jaw tightened. "Nothing is random in this world, Freya. If Darian wanted someone close to me, he would have researched everyone in my building. You were new. You were vulnerable. You were perfect." The words hit her like a physical blow. "So our entire relationship was fake?" "Probably." She turned away, blinking back tears. 6 months. 6 months of her life with someone who had never cared about her at all. who had only been using her as a pawn in some game she didn't understand. "I'm sorry," Min-Jun said, and he sounded like he meant it. "Why are you being nice to me?" she asked, her voice thick. "You're supposed to be a criminal. A bad guy. I am a bad guy." His tone was flat. "But I don't hurt innocent people. And I don't let my enemies hurt them either." They pulled into an underground garage beneath a gleaming high-rise. Min-Jun parked in a spot marked reserved, and they took a private elevator that required a keycard and a fingerprint scan. The elevator opened directly into his penthouse. Freya stepped out and just stared. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. The furniture was all clean lines and expensive materials. Modern art hung on the walls. Everything was pristine, elegant, and absolutely nothing like her cramped little apartment. "Make yourself at home," Min-Jun said, setting her bag down. "The guest room is down that hall. Second door on the left. There's a bathroom attached. You'll find everything you need." "Thank you." The words felt inadequate. He loosened his tie, the first sign that he was even capable of being anything other than perfectly composed. "I have some calls to make. Don't leave this apartment. Don't answer the door. Don't contact anyone from your old life, not Simone, not your family, not anyone. Do you understand? For how long? Until I neutralize the threat. And how long will that take? Depends on how cooperative Darian is feeling." His smile was cold. "Not very, if I had to guess." He disappeared into another room, leaving Freya alone in the massive living room. She walked to the windows and looked out at the city below. Somewhere down there, Marcus was probably reporting back to his boss. Somewhere down there, people were looking for her. And here she was, trapped in a penthouse with a man who admitted he was a criminal. What had her life become? She found the guest room, and it was bigger than her entire apartment. The bed was enormous, covered in soft white linens. The bathroom had a soaking tub and a shower with more jets than she could count. She sat on the edge of the bed and finally let herself cry. Not just for the danger she was in, but for everything. For Marcus's betrayal. For her own stupidity. For the loneliness that had driven her to take that photo in the first place, desperate to feel wanted again. A soft knock on the door made her look up. Min-Jun stood in the doorway, his tie gone now, his shirt sleeves rolled up. He looked younger like this. More human. "I ordered food," he said. "You should eat." "I'm not hungry. You need your strength." He paused. "And for what it's worth, you didn't do anything wrong. Marcus is a professional. You couldn't have known. Doesn't make me feel less stupid. Stupid would be ignoring the warning signs. You left him. That took courage." She wiped her eyes. "How do you know I left him?" "Your apartment. No men's clothes. No photos of the two of you. And the way you flinched when I mentioned his name." Min-Jun leaned against the doorframe. "You knew something was wrong, even if you didn't know what. He was always so secretive. And cold. I thought maybe he just wasn't that into me." She laughed bitterly. "Turns out I was right, just not in the way I thought. His loss." The words were simple, but the way he said them made her look up. Their eyes met, and something electric passed between them, something that had nothing to do with danger or crime or accidentally sent photos. Min-Jun cleared his throat. "Come eat. We can talk strategy." The dining table was set with Thai food, pad Thai, spring rolls, mango sticky rice. Her stomach growled despite everything. They ate in companionable silence for a few minutes before Min-Jun spoke again. "Tell me about yourself. The real you. Not the version Marcus saw." "Why do you want to know?" "Because if I'm going to protect you, I should know who I'm protecting." Freya set down her fork. "I grew up in Atlanta. Moved here 2 years ago for a job that laid me off 8 months later. I do freelance design work now, barely making rent. I paint when I can't sleep. I'm scared of heights, love old movies, and apparently have terrible taste in men." His lips twitched. "The last part is debatable." "Is it though?" "I accidentally sent a lingerie photo to a Korean mob boss. Mafia, actually. Different organizational structure." He said it so seriously that she couldn't help but laugh. And, just like that, some of the tension eased. They talked through dinner. She learned that he'd grown up in Seoul, that his father had built the organization from nothing, that Min-Jun had taken over 5 years ago after his father's death. She learned that he spoke 4 languages, had a degree in business from Harvard, and genuinely seemed to care about the people who worked for him. "So you're like, a ethical crime lord?" she asked. "There's no such thing as ethical in this business." His expression darkened. "But there are rules. Lines I won't cross. Children. Drugs in schools. Human trafficking. Anyone in my organization who breaks those rules answers to me. And what happens when they answer to you? They don't do it again." The weight of those words settled over them. This was who he really was. Not just the handsome man who'd shown up at her door. Not just the person making sure she was fed and safe. A man who killed people. But as she looked at him across the table, she didn't feel afraid. She felt something else. Something confusing and inappropriate and undeniably real. "You're staring," he said softly. "Sorry." She looked away, heat flooding her cheeks. "Don't apologize." He stood, collecting their plates. "You've had a long morning. You should rest. We have a lot to figure out and you need to be sharp." But she didn't want to rest. She didn't want to be alone with her thoughts. "Min-Jun." He turned back. "Thank you. For believing me. For helping me. Thank you for that photo." His smile was genuine this time, transforming his entire face. "It's been a long time since anyone surprised me." He left her alone then, and Freya returned to the guest room. She showered, washing away the fear and tears, and changed into clean clothes. When she emerged, the penthouse was quiet. She found Min-Jun in his office, surrounded by monitors and speaking rapid Korean into his phone. He glanced up when she entered, and something in his expression softened. He finished the call and set down the phone. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Can't stop thinking." She sat in the chair across from his desk. "What happens now?" "Now I make it clear that you're under my protection. I reach out to Darian and propose a meeting. We figure out what he wants and why he thought targeting you is worth the risk. And if he doesn't want to meet, then things get complicated. More complicated than a graphic designer accidentally getting caught in a mafia war." His laugh was low and warm. "Fair point." She studied him, the way the light from the monitors cast shadows across his face, the tension in his shoulders, the intelligence in his eyes. "Why are you really doing this?" she asked. "You could have just warned me and walked away." He was quiet for a long moment. "Because when I saw that photo, I saw someone trying to reclaim themselves. Someone who'd been hurt and was choosing to be strong anyway. And then I learned what Marcus had done to you and I." He trailed off. "You what?" "I saw red." His voice was barely above a whisper. "Nobody deserves to be used like that. Especially not someone like you. Someone like me? Real. Genuine. Beautiful." The air between them charged with electricity. Freya's heart raced, but not from fear this time. This was dangerous in an entirely different way. "I should go to bed," she said, standing abruptly. "Freya." She stopped at the door. "If you need anything tonight, anything at all, I'm right down the hall." She nodded and fled to her room, her heart pounding. What was happening to her? 24 hours ago, her biggest problem was getting over her ex. Now she was hiding in a crime lord's penthouse, and worse, so much worse, she was starting to feel something for him. This was insane. This was impossible. This was actually happening. Days blurred together in the penthouse. Min-Jun worked constantly, making calls and having tense conversations in Korean. Freya tried to work on her design projects, but her concentration was shot. They fell into a routine. Morning coffee together. Meals shared at the dining table. Late-night conversations where they talked about everything except the danger lurking outside. She learned that he loved old jazz music. That he'd wanted to be an architect before his father died. That he was actually funny when he let his guard down, with a dry wit that caught her off guard. And he learned about her dreams of opening her own design studio someday, about the sister she hadn't spoken to in years after a stupid fight, about the way she saw beauty in broken things. "Maybe that's why you're not afraid of me," he said one night. They were sitting on his balcony, the city lights spread out below them like fallen stars. "What do you mean?" "I'm a broken thing, Freya. You just see it differently." She turned to look at him. "You're not broken. You're just dangerous? Criminal? Wrong for you in every possible way. Complicated," she finished. but not broken. His hand found hers in the darkness, and she didn't pull away. "I need to tell you something," he said. Darian agreed to meet. Tomorrow night. Her stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means I find out what he wants. And I end this. Will it be dangerous? Everything I do is dangerous. He squeezed her hand. But I'll have security. And you'll stay here, where it's safe. I don't like this. Neither do I. But it's the only way to protect you long term. They sat in silence, hands intertwined, neither wanting to acknowledge what was building between them. Because acknowledging it would make it real. And real meant complicated. And complicated meant someone would get hurt. The next evening, Min-Jun dressed in a sharp black suit, checking his gun with practiced efficiency. Freya watched from the doorway, her anxiety spiking. "I'll be back in a few hours," he said. "Don't open the door for anyone. My men are stationed throughout the building. Be careful." He crossed to her, cupping her face in his hands. "I'm always careful." And then he kissed her. It was soft and desperate and perfect, and when he pulled away, they were both breathing hard. "I'll come back," he promised. "I always come back." Then he was gone, leaving Freya alone with her racing heart and the taste of him still on her lips. She tried to watch TV, tried to paint, tried to do anything to distract herself. But all she could think about was Min-Jun walking into danger because of her. Because she'd sent a stupid photo to the wrong person and started this whole mess. An hour passed. Then 2. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "If you want to see Min-Jun alive again, come to the address below. Alone. Tell no one. You have 30 minutes. Her blood ran cold. This was a trap. Obviously a trap. But what if it wasn't? What if they really had him? She thought about calling Min-Jun's security. But the text had said come alone. She thought about staying put like he'd told her to. But she couldn't. Not if there was even a chance he was in danger because of her. So Freya grabbed her jacket and slipped out of the penthouse, praying she wasn't making the biggest mistake of her life. The address led to an abandoned warehouse near the docks. Every horror movie instinct in Freya's body screamed at her to turn around. But she kept walking, her phone clutched in her sweaty palm. The warehouse door was open. Inside, Marcus stood waiting. He looked different than she remembered, harder, colder. Like she was finally seeing the real him. "Hello, Freya." "Where's Min-Jun?" she demanded. Marcus smiled. "You really fell for that text? God, you're even dumber than I thought." Rage flooded through her. "Screw you, Marcus. You already did. Multiple times. Though I have to admit, you're much better in that photo you sent than you were in person." He circled her slowly. "Darian wants to send Min-Jun a message. And you're going to deliver it. I'm not doing anything for you. You don't have a choice." He pulled out a gun. "You're coming with me. And when Min-Jun comes looking for you, and he will, we'll be ready." But before Marcus could move closer, the warehouse exploded with movement. Min-Jun's men poured in from every entrance. And Min-Jun himself appeared behind Marcus, pressing a gun to the back of his head. "I was wondering when you'd make your move," Min-Jun said coldly. "Drop the weapon." Marcus froze. "I said drop it." The gun clattered to the concrete floor. Min-Jun's eyes found Freya's across the warehouse. "Are you hurt?" "No. I'm sorry. I thought. We'll talk about it later." His voice was steel. "Take him," he told his men, and they dragged Marcus away, screaming threats. Then Min-Jun was crossing to her, his hands running over her arms, her face, checking for injuries. "You could have been killed," he said, his voice shaking. "Why did you come here alone?" "Because I thought they had you. Because I couldn't just sit there while you might be in danger." "Freya, I know it was stupid. I know I should have stayed. But I couldn't lose you. Not after." She trailed off, the truth too big to say out loud. He kissed her again, harder this time, desperate and claiming. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "You're going to be the death of me," he whispered. "Or maybe I'll be the life of you." He pulled back, studying her face. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to pretend I don't feel this. Whatever this is between us, I want to see where it goes. Freya, my world, is dangerous, I know. But you know what? So is loving someone who sees you as nothing but a tool. At least with you, I know you see me. The real me. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I do see you. I see your strength. Your kindness. Your terrible taste in Korean crime lords. She laughed through her tears. It's not that terrible. Come on. He took her hand. Let's go home. The months that followed weren't easy. Darian Cross went to prison after the FBI, with carefully leaked information from Min-Jun, finally had enough evidence to arrest him. Marcus turned state's witness in exchange for a reduced sentence. And Min-Jun began the slow process of transitioning his business to legitimate enterprises. It wouldn't happen overnight. Maybe it would never fully happen. But he was trying. For her. For them. For the future they were building together. Freya moved into the penthouse officially. Her design business took off when she landed a major client, thanks in part to Min-Jun's connections, though he swore he'd only made the introduction. The work is all you, he insisted. They learned each other. The good and the bad. The darkness and the light. She painted again, and this time her work reflected something new, hope. He smiled more. Laughed more. Became more than just the ice-cold boss everyone feared. One evening, exactly a year after that fateful photo, they stood on the balcony together. Do you ever regret it? Min-Jun asked. That night? The mistake that started all this. Freya thought about it. About the danger and fear. About Marcus's betrayal and the violence she'd witnessed. About all the ways her life had been turned upside down. No, she said finally. Because it brought me to you. And you're the best mistake I ever made. He smiled, pulling a small box from his pocket. Then maybe it's time to make it permanent. She stared at the ring, a simple band with a single diamond, elegant and perfect. I'm not asking you to be part of my old world, he said. I'm asking you to help me build a new one. Marry me, Freya. Let's make something beautiful out of all this chaos. She didn't hesitate. Yes. The kiss was sweet and full of promise. Around them, the city sparkled, full of life and possibility. They'd started with a mistake, a moment of vulnerability captured in pixels and sent to the wrong number. But they'd built something real. Something lasting. Something that proved that sometimes the universe knows exactly what it's doing. Even when we don't. If this story kept you watching until the very end, do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me what you thought, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Because trust me, we're just getting started. See you in the next one.